All right, hello. Welcome to what is about to be probably a 2-hour video. So before you even watch, I will advise you to put this video in the background, a second monitor, or whatever you need, and just tab in or just look wherever there is something that interests you or something that catches your ear. Just pay attention, have fun, and have fun gaming while watching. So, in this video, we're gonna look at every single AoE weapon in the game, talk about a lot of its usefulness, and basically try and get you to decide which primary AoE weapon you are gonna use for your Warframes. Now, every AoE is good. There is not a single AoE weapon that is bad in this game. That is because the meta has revolved and changed too much to focus on AoE, which makes AoE weapons automatically meta, no matter how strong a single target weapon can get. So, with that being said, we're gonna bring this up. So, this is a small notepad. I have every single AoE weapon in the game written here. I don't have two things rather. One is AoE weapons that the AoE is through beams connecting with each other, and the other one are hit scan weapons that have innate punch through that is limited and not infinite. So anything that has limited punch through and anything that is chaining through any kind of beam weapon, we do not add on to this list. So with this being said, let's explain what these are. So these are the stuff that we're gonna judge the weapons on. So Daily Driver is a weapon that you can use on pretty much any mission. This is kind of what the term is supposed to be. You can use this as your primary weapon forever and you will be good on any mission you pick it on. Level cap viability, I don't think I need to explain this. It has enough damage with the setup to get itself to level cap very easily. Utility is basically how easy it is to use and how much utility you can get from it by killing stuff like crates, having too much range, and basically all that kind of stuff to make it very, very strong. Priming, obviously. Actually, utility, because it's different than raids, is just gonna be basically ease of use and you know, how much, if it has any kind of punch through, if it has any kind of stuff that you can use to help yourself do more damage. You will see what I mean with this. So priming is self-explanatory. If you don't know what priming is and you're a new player, it's basically when you add status procs to the enemy, and the enemy, the galvanized modes that increase the damage to enemies dealt by the amount of statuses that they have on them. You just get a ton of damage onto them. And then range is basically how big the range of the AoE is. Early game accessibility is how easy it is to get these weapons basically from starting the game. And ammo economy, I think the most important one, especially after the ammo nerfs. It will be a big factor on the choice of your primary AoE weapon. So, with that being said, let's start the list. I'm gonna not start from the actual first weapon that I wrote with the Acceltra, and I'm gonna go on two weapons that are the Ambassador and the Aeolak. So, why these? Well, the Ambassador and the Aeolak are two weapons that I do not own, as you can see. On the Guncio list, I could clearly see that they are similar to Stahlta in terms of how they work, with a bit less damage, obviously, or, you know, quite a lot less damage, but they work similarly, as in their primary weapon that is full auto, and then it has a charge mechanic on the secondary fire. Both of them are multiplicative scaling with galvanized aptitude, so both of them will deal really nice damage all the way up to high level. So in terms of stats, the Aeolak itself has a nicer primary fire than the Stahlta, while the secondary fire is lacking, and the Ambassador has a worse primary fire than the Stahlta, while the secondary fire is also a bit in the weird side. It seems okay-ish, but it needs quite a lot of buffing, Riven mods, and other stuff to make itself really good. Plus the Ambassador, it needs to have a huge animation to switch the secondary fire. You know, to switch to the secondary fire and get the charge shots, you need the whole reload animation. While on this one, it's instant, and on Stahlta is also instant. So about these two weapons, I don't have them, but if I wanted to rank them, we would go ahead and do this so you get a glimpse of what it looks like. Are they daily driver weapons? Yes, they are, because they have a fully automatic fire. They have good ammo economy, so this is a good ammo economy. Early game accessibility, no, not at all. Both of them quite hard to get. Range on them, you know, 7 meters on Aeolak and 6 meters on Ambassador, so medium range. Priming, they cannot really prime, because Ambassador pure electric, Aeolak pure radiation and pure or no, not bit of radiation, but then pure blast on secondary fire, so it cannot really prime. And then utility, I haven't tried them to judge here, but they seem okay from videos that I saw. And level cap viability, both of them can easily do level cap. I've seen level cap with both of the weapons and they are very, very strong, so no questions about that. So do I recommend Aeolak and Ambassador? Aeolak for sure, because I have it on my radar as well, I want to get it. Ambassador, preference. So now that we have these, we can go ahead and look at the next weapon, which is gonna be the Acceltra Prime. Our newest Prime weapon, very, very nice. Some really decent stats here. Very low Raven disposition, so any Raven mod that you get on this is not gonna be that great. For me, right now, I went with a build that abuses corrosive and hunter munitions. I know it's a weird combination, but for some reason this is the thing that worked for me the most, so I stuck with it. Overall, every test is gonna be done on these heavy gunners that are level 180 and steel path. So you're gonna see that first kill takes a bit of time, and then the kills start getting a bit easier. There is quite a bit of flash broken. And we ran out of ammo. So, oh, the kid died, so I got ammo. So, the Acceltra, I think it's good. Especially if you have any kind of fire rate buff that I use on my Wisp, for example. You get quite a bit of dopamine kick using this. It's very, very fun. Few straight ammo, but deals a lot of damage. So overall, really good weapon. As you see, ammo economy is not crazy, but the good part about this weapon is that any ammo pickup you get gives you 40 ammunition back, and the actual mag of it has 48 ammo. So let's rank it now. So Acceltra Prime, daily driver, no, not really. And this is only because if you are very, very close to someone and you shoot it, the bullets do not explode. You need a minimal arming distance, and that's why I don't like it. If you're very close range to the enemy, you cannot really use this weapon at all. It deals way, way less damage. You're losing more than half because you cannot deal with the radial attack. Level cap viability, I've tried it, and with the right setup it can do level cap damage for sure. Utility, pretty bad. I mean, it is a fully automatic AoE weapon, but it has the good AoE, the good utility thing about it that is also bad at the same time is the fact that it has forced impact strokes on every hit that connects with the target. Forced impact strokes will make the target stunned and they won't be able to attack you, which is a good thing, but at the same time they move around a lot and then you can miss your bullets, which is a bad thing. So overall, utility kinda meh. Then priming, this can prime very easily with the correct setup, so priming is a yes for sure. Range is 5 meters, so it's mid. Early game accessibility, I would say, what MR is this even? Acceltra Prime. Can I see on sim? MR14. Early game accessibility decent, as long as you're MR14 you can get it, and it's not that hard to get to MR14. And ammo economy is mid, because even though you have a lot of ammo and you have 40 ammo per pickup, you actually do have to kill enemies to get this ammo pickup back, and sometimes that can be very hard, especially on higher levels. You can work around this with ability buffs and such, but ammo economy obviously could have been better, as we clearly saw. So Acceltra Prime gets a preference. Preference weapons is basically, if you like it and you want to use it, go ahead. Oh shit. If you like it and you want to use it, go ahead. Aeolak, that is for sure, is something that you should have on your arsenal to try it out at least once. It is a really strong weapon. And then we're gonna see other rankings as well. So Battacor is next. Battacor, one of the guns that I ranked very high on my primary weapons list. It is a very, very strong gun that has multiplicative CO on, I believe, both firing modes, because both firing modes deal insane damage. And this allows us to get a lot more benefit from galvanized aptitude and base damage on top of that. So we're gonna see that in action. The Battacor itself, I didn't show my Raven, has this with negative damage, so I do lose a lot of damage from the Raven itself, which is kind of sad. But at the same time, triple galvanized setup, you can red crit even on the primary fire. The aptitude multiplicative CO will deal a lot of damage, and it is a very, very nice weapon. So we're gonna see that it's really slow, and the first kill is kind of hard to come by, but then one stack and we did a lot of damage. And now we have charged it, and boom, quite a bit. So one thing to note is that there is an augment for this gun with Sentient Barrage, I believe, right? Which increases the discharge damage by 300% if you kill more than 3 enemies, basically. But at the same time, you completely remove the AoE from your gun. And the AoE is decent, like it says it's 3 meters, but this guy got hit, that is 6 meters away, and this guy got hit also, that is 5 meters away. So the AoE of this is not quite 3 meters, 3.4 meters as the game says, it's a bit more. And I'm not sure why it says it's 3.4 meters or what is happening to accumulate for the bigger range, but it clearly has bigger range. Like, it shouldn't hit this guy ever, you know? So, overall, as you can see, really strong with the stats. We don't have any kind of damage buff, and obviously all of these weapons fire rate makes them very strong. So it one-shots level 180 heavies. The secondary fire, too much damage. It is one of the few weapons that is auto burst, meaning that you don't have to click every time to use the burst. You can just hold it down. Sorry, one sec. I forgot to do something. Okay. So now you should be able to hear me better. Sorry about that. Forgot about that. Maybe a bit more. But yeah, we can see Battacor is very, very strong. It is the reason why I ranked it so high. So yeah, I don't think I need to showcase anything else. Very, very strong, both corpus and Grineer, since it's innate magnetic, puncture, and corrosive. And radiation as well. I mean, you cover so many elements with this gun, it's ridiculous. So, once again, Riven is this, if you want to see it again. This is the build. And now let's rank it. So, Battacor. Is it a daily driver? Yes, absolutely, 100%. Fully automatic primary fire with an AoE secondary. Level cap viability, 100%, no question about it. Utility, pretty bad. It has no recoil, which is a good part, but you need to physically charge the AoE of your gun to use it, which inherently makes it bad, and it's not good for destroying things like crates around you to get free loot and stuff like that, so a bit bad on that nature. Priming, very, very good. It covers a lot of enemies, even if you just mod it for corrosive with nothing else. We're covering corrosive, radiation, magnetic, and puncture. So quite a lot of stuff there to prime. so really good for that. And range 3.4 meters. I'm gonna say it's around 6 to 7 meters instead, which still puts it at mid. 3.4 meters would probably be low, but as we saw, it's just mid range. Early game accessibility, I would say it's pretty good. The Battacor has an MR of, I believe, 10? Yeah, MR 10. It is kind of hard to craft it. The recipe is quite expensive on the mining gear and all that, but overall, you can make a Battacor on MR10 quite easily if you're familiar with Fortuna, so I would say the early game accessibility is really, really good. And ammo economy, I don't think I need to talk about ammo economy. It has 720 ammunition and the secondary fire costs nothing. It doesn't cost you ammunition at all. So yeah, Battacor is a must-have. You need to have a Battacor in your arsenal and use it. It is absolutely broken. Up next, one of the favorites in this game, the Bubonico. The Bubonico. So this used to be one of my favorite guns in the game before the ammo nerfs. Right now, we're gonna see that the bullets recharge very, very slowly. So in order for people to actually take advantage of the gun, they usually remove this mode and put primed ammo stock. I don't have primed ammo stock to do this, but this is probably in your best interest to do this to get the most out of your Bubonico. This is the build, this is my Riven, focused around secondary fire mainly because that's what I was using to actually play, and then primary fire after you prime them. So we're gonna respawn these guys. So because it's multiplicative CO, the damage of it is absolutely not. But as you can see, some ammunition issues already with the bad recharge, but obviously it is very, very strong in terms of the actual salts that it deals. It just, you know, it feels limiting to say, you know, because then you empty it and you have to wait 3 seconds to refill your ammo. If you have primed ammo stock, yes, you have to wait a lot to refill your ammo there as well. But at least it doesn't feel limiting. You can use it for an extensive period of time. And especially if you're someone who plays Wisp like me, or if you have a Wisp in the squad, which is very, very common, then, you know, no ammo. Again, no ammo. I mean, I can just spam it like this, I guess it works. But who wants to do that, honestly? So, overall, really, really strong, really, really good damage, but yeah, I don't know. Forgot to do that, just in case, because I'm recording. So, you know, Bubonico, I mean, it's really good. I don't have many bad things to say about it, but let's rank it as, you know, as an AoE. So, forgot to change from display capture, it's whatever. Your eyes just hurt a bit after this, probably. So, Bubonico, daily driver, maybe? It could be a daily driver, so there is a possibility of that. Level cap liability, 100%, no question about it. Too much damage on that primary fire with the ammo mutation. Utility, very, very good. There is a lot of AoE, you have infinite ammo potentially, so you don't have to get any ammo pickups. It's just the battery that is very slow that is killing it, but we're gonna talk about that on the ammo economy. Overall utility, I would say really, really good. Priming, once again, really, really good. You can make the secondary fire do a lot of stuff. Right here we have corrosive viral heat, and you know corrosive with Emerald Shards right now is completely broken and can armor strip on its own. The range of it is 7 meters, so good. 7 meters is when it starts to get good. From 7 to 8 meters is the good category. And then early game accessibility, I believe the Bubonico is an MR12 weapon. Not sure. We're gonna check it every time just to make sure. MR13. A bit more accessible than the Acceltra, so I would say it has pretty good accessibility. And ammo economy, here is where we're kind of losing it. So Prime Damo Stoke helps it a lot. It will lose you damage, but it feels necessary in order to even use the gun, which feels kind of bad. A gun that you have to help so much to make its ammo worthwhile has innately bad ammo economy, and we're talking about a gun that has pretty much infinite ammo here, but because of the recharge mechanic being gutted and being so slow, it's just so bad, man. Like, if you guys want to see, if you haven't played with the old Bubonico, go look at someone who reviewed the weapon when it came out, so you can see how fast this shit was recharging. You're gonna lose your mind. You're gonna understand why I'm ranking that so low. So, even if the Bubonico is, you know, has some caveats, I would still say this is a must-have. Bubonico is super strong. I still love it. I just wouldn't pick it over other weapon choices that we're gonna see. Up next we have the Burston Prime. So the Burston Prime, our first encountered weapon in this list. It is here because of two reasons. It has the innate punch through from the evolution, which, you know, it's not infinite, but it's enough. And then the evolution itself has a bit of radial attack that actually works with the punch through, which is something no other weapon can do, I believe. So we're gonna see what it does. This is the build right here. Raven Mod Toxin Crit Chance replaces Infected Clip. So pretty decent. Overall, you see really high stats here. Kind of low damage, but we're gonna see that it doesn't matter because of Hunter Munitions. So this is the primary fire, which is still very strong. With 0 stacks you can do this, and with 1 stack you can do that. So with the AoE now, especially if we add a bit of fire rate. Now obviously hitting them is better because we have the punch through, and lining them up is also better because we're gonna have the punch through and we're also gonna have the AoE. So I'm gonna show that real quick. I'm gonna take this play creep path with Exodia Hunt so I can easily group them. You know, you could say, oh, but you can just use Operator. I think that's, you know... Bro. Exodia Hunt, you're killing me right now, bro. Usually it's first try. So I'm gonna just hit this guy and get the thing. 600 ammo, very strong. So even though there is not much AoE, it is enough to clear a group of enemies like that. If you're playing something like Korra, or if you're playing something that can group them like that, like a Nidus, it will feel really good. And yeah, the punch through itself, you know. Does it only work on enemies? I guess it only works on enemies. Sorry, I probably deafened you. I'm very sorry about that. Shit. It's fine. I'll cut it onto the editing. Don't worry about it. But yeah, Burston, very good, very strong. Decent AoE, very low range on the AoE, but a nice room clearing weapon, especially if you have the aim. So let's rank it. So, daily driver, yes, absolutely. Level cap viability, yes, absolutely. Utility, I would say utility is pretty bad on almost every encountered weapon in the game. Encountered weapons in general have this liability that you have to charge them in order to use them. And this is the reason why I wouldn't recommend some guns over encountered weapons, except the encounter mode is completely bonkers. Now, on the Burston and on something like the Torid, the encounter mode is in fact completely bonkers, so you can use it, yes. But the utility of every encounter is pretty bad. It is pretty bad. Priming, the Burston could in theory do priming. I mean, very high fire rate. Could change this to... Oh wait, we don't have status chance. Scratch stats. Can it prime? No. Range is doo-doo, 2 meters, not great. Early game accessibility, it's an incarnate weapon. You have to do a lot of quests to get incarnate weapons. You have to have Zarryman unlocked, so you have to have New War unlocked, you have to have Steel Path unlocked on Duviri, and you have to do the actual Steel Path missions on Duviri to get the Arcane Adapter, which is also a weekly reward, and you can miss it very easily if you don't play for a week, or if you don't play enough Duviri for that specific week. So, not very accessible, as with every incarnate weapon. Ammo economy, goated. There is very little weapons that can match this ammo economy ever. So, Burston, must have, once again. Is incredibly OP primary weapon with a bit of caveats that can be fixed, mostly. So, up next, we have the Cedo. The Shedu is a shotgun that has... oh wait, actually no, not the Shedu yet. Why have I... Wait. Is Catchmoon infinite puncher? Oh yeah, it is infinite puncher. Okay, well, next up is the Catchmoon. Sorry about that. So, you know, the Catchmoon is a shotgun like the Tenet Arca Passport that has infinite puncher, and it has a projectile speed that you get a circle projectile that passes through enemies and kills them, basically. It's a kit gun, and you can mod it for primary with the Tremor Grip and Splat Loader for the best results in terms of damage. And we're gonna see how it performs. So here's the build once again. This is the Riven, and it replaces... was it? Yeah, critical deceleration. So replaces that with 204 instead of 200 and extra multi-shot. Negative projectile is really bad, but thankfully we have a galvanized mod that gives us projectile speed. So overall fire rate is not great, but it's a fully automatic shotgun that deals guaranteed impacts and pretty much guaranteed slash with all that multi-shot that I have on it. Innate hits. Overall, I would say it's really strong. Like, I can make it stronger if I get a Riven mode, but you know, one shot does this, and it's fully auto. So I would say it's pretty good. Now, fully auto AoE shotgun with more than 45 meters range, I would say that's pretty good. Now that was galvanized aptitude, you see. The moment I lost it, I couldn't reach this guy anymore. But as long as I reach them, then the bleed procs will do the rest of the stuff. Obviously a shotgun with a lot of follow-up, so it's gonna struggle a bit when it comes to that. But I think overall it's really nice, and it has some creative synergies with stuff like Zada's Whisper, which I'm gonna show for this, in fact, so you can see. So if we add Zada's Whisper to this gun, you're gonna see that obviously it circles around the targets, but if you add more with acceleration, then it can escape the bubble and find other targets. You see that? It escaped the bubble, touched this guy, and hit them twice. So there is some weird synergies going on with Zada's Whisper in this, where you can shoot multiple people, especially if they're a bit close to each other. It can chain because it is too fast for the attraction to work on it. And this is with a minus projectile speed Riven. It can get way crazier if you don't have something like that. So yeah, I believe the Catchmoon is a pretty decent weapon to get. So let's rank it now. So daily driver, no. It is a shotgun, limited range, cannot be a daily driver. Level cap viability, yes, but not that great as other weapons. It can do level cap. It will need you 2 mags to kill a level cap demolished that is armor stripped and primed, so it is okay to do level cap, but it's not the greatest. Utility, pretty good, I would say. It is a kit gun, so kit guns can get battery. The battery works really well with this gun, so if you want to go that way, you can. And basically get infinite ammo, you can get a lot of stuff, you can get guaranteed impact procs onto the enemy, which because it's a shotgun, it has a large area that hits and you can be as close to the target as possible, so they don't flinch around too much. It doesn't really take away from you hitting the targets, and impact procs actually benefit you in terms of doing mercy kills, and as a shotgun user, it's gonna be pretty easy to follow up with mercy kills because you're already very close to the target, and mercy kills make you invulnerable. They give you what do you call them? Iframes. They give you iframes. So priming, not really. It cannot prime. It doesn't have enough status procs. It only has heat and impact, so no priming. Range, infinite punch through, so range is on a decent. But because it's a shotgun, I would say it's pretty bad, since it's limited by the range itself. Early game accessibility, very easy to get. It is on Fortuna. No MR requirement, can get it very early on, as early as MR2 or MR3. So, you know, great. And ammo economy, absolutely insane. 70 ammo maximum, 11 in the mag, and 40 ammo pickup. You cannot run out of ammo on it at all. So I would put the Catchmoon on preference. This is pretty good. I would say it's pretty good. It would be something that if you like this kind of weapons, if you like the Tenet Arca Plasma, you would like this too. So you can go ahead and use it. Up next we have the Cedo. Cedo is the shotgun that has funny, innate, you know, galvanized CO. So you can add galvanized CO on top of that and a lot of damage, and you can prime very well with the secondary fire, which is also the AoE that we're gonna talk about. So let's see it. So for best in sim, you see the ceiling and it just goes. Then your damage goes crazy onto these guys because they're primed with full galvanized modes. And very, very insane damage, especially if you armor strip the targets as well, or if you force some kind of crits. My build has no crit mod, so I'm gonna show you why. The Cedo is a gun that I never use with any other Warframe other than Mesa. You're probably familiar with this combination where you add your ballistic bullseye ability with a ton of strength, and the ballistic bullseye will give you way more critical chance on your next shot. So we can force crits by using that and get advantage over crit damage mode with this. So charge it, roar, throw it. That can just happen, and whoever survives, we can just shoot them and kill them, but usually they won't survive because there is an almost guaranteed electricity proc when you use the Cedo. Overall, the Cedo is very interesting. It is some really, really good weaponry because, first of all, the radial attack, the AoE of it is completely free. And in fact, a lot of people have troubles because it goes out, you miss the shot, and you're like, what the hell do I do? Well, if you just press it again, you call it back. It's something a lot of people don't know, that you can recall it by pressing the secondary fire again. So as you see, they return back, and then you can throw it again. Overall, Cedo, very, very nice. I would say something that very beloved gun for a good reason. And let's rank it. Oh, that's better. So, daily driver. No, it's a shotgun, so it cannot be a daily driver. You cannot take it everywhere. Even though it's a hit gun shotgun, it is still a shotgun and you need to prime with it to get the most out of it. Level cap viability, very easily can do level cap. It has a self gun CO and extra gun CO on top of that with self priming. Utility, one of the best in the entire game. You can easily destroy every crate available and the glaives just go and do everything for you when you don't even need to see the enemies, while also priming them and letting your teammates absolutely one-shot them even if you don't see them. Overall, one of the best utility primary weapons in the game. Priming, we just talked about it. It's primed for itself. Range is absolutely insane. Even though it only is 6 meters, it auto-targets enemies after every bounce. So it is really hard to miss. And even if you do miss, you can just recall the glaive and then you can just throw it back. So there is no reason to call this range bad, even though it's below 7 meters. Early game accessibility. This is not accessible at all. You need rank 5 on Deimos to get it, and then you need a Seriglass shard that takes a lot of time, and then you need mining stuff, you need a lot of stuff to build this weapon, and as a new player, you're probably either gonna CBA doing this or you won't have time. So, even though it's an amazing weapon, it is really hard to get it, especially if you're a new player, so, you know, not great. Ammo economy, the ammo economy on this is great. Obviously secondary fire doesn't consume any ammo, so you can destroy it whenever, and the ammo pickup is 20 while the mag is 40, and usually 2 or 3 bullets are able to kill even level 1k as long as they're primed, which the gun can actually just do on its own. So overall, Cedo must have just for its utility. I'm not gonna stress this enough. The utility from the glaive is absolutely insane, and this is the reason why a lot of people appreciate the Cedo for what it is, and then again it does a lot of damage anyways. So up next we have the Corinth Prime. So Corinth Prime, we're gonna talk about the secondary fire obviously, but we're gonna showcase everything. So right now, usually you would just take Corinth to use the primary fire because, I mean, let's be honest, shotgun with big boom I like. You want to see the big boom. You don't really care about anything else. So secondary fire itself does this. Kind of self-primes for the shotgun that you're using because of the high status chance. It doesn't deal enough damage except the enemies are completely armor stripped. So overall, kind of underwhelming. And I'm gonna show you that I actually tried making the secondary fire viable by doing this. That's a lot of damage, and then getting this Riven mode to get as much damage as possible with Galvanized Savi. Then I did Garuda, Merciless Cane, and let's go. So guaranteed bleed procs on these enemies now. Oops. If the guaranteed bleed is not there, then, you know, it doesn't deal as much damage, but overall, I would say it kind of succeeded in becoming good. So with the setup, this can be a decent AoE, but let's be honest, this is a gun that you're gonna use for the primary fire, not the secondary fire. The secondary fire is not strong enough. This is my primary fire build, this is the Riven mode that I'm using, and I'm not using Galvanized Savi for the simple reason that I just don't go high enough levels with this gun. Even though I know it can do it, and I could pretty much change my build all around at this, go crazy with it, but I choose not to because it is not as strong as it used to be. So this is what I ended up with just a max damage build that actually works for me. So overall, decent gun. We're ranking it. So daily driver, shotgun, no. Level cap viability, yes, with the correct build you can level cap with the Corinth Prime. It has a lot of damage. Utility, it's decent because it's a hit scan weapon, so you don't get fucked by the range a lot. Plus, the AoE itself is very big, It does cost a bit of ammo and it is slow, but it can do a lot of work in destroying a lot of crates, clearing the way, knocking down enemies. It has some decent utility. Priming, yes, 100%, because the secondary fire has a lot of status chance, starting at 50%, so you can build it for priming enemies. Range is a whopping 9.8 meters at base, so I don't think you can add Prime Firestorm to this, which is a shame, but 9.8 meters is still a really good amount of range, so good. Early game accessibility, this is an MR14 shotgun, I believe, so yep, same as the Acceltra Prime, pretty easy to get. Ammo economy, pretty good. Especially if you use the primary fire and not just the secondary fire, you're not gonna have many ammo issues with it, as it can one-shot and you get 15 back from every kill. So with this, knowing all this, we're gonna have the Corinth Prime as a for sure. For sure are basically weapons that are worth checking out. Must have are weapons that you must have in the arsenal. Preference are weapons that if you like the way they look, the way they play out, you can actually use them. And then we're gonna have a bad tier for weapons that you should probably avoid. So up next we're gonna have the Dread or the Paris. They are both the same when it comes to their encounter version and their AoEs, so either one will work. The Dread and Paris have an small AoE shot that is very wide. It can use split flights even though it's not considered an AoE bow, which is very strong because this has infinite punch through, and the minus accuracy can help cover a bigger area. Not by a lot, but it can help. So this is how it looks like on steel path enemies. So the bad thing about this is that you have to charge it with headshots, unfortunately, so that sucks, but I can see. I'm gonna let the stacks of split flights run out so you can see that you shoot once and top right 4 stacks instantly. So one shot can easily get you all of your split flight stacks, and with a slash proc from 100 munitions you can get some crazy damage with this. Decent synergies when it comes to attraction spells like Zarr's Whisper. As you can see, looks very funny. Enemy that comes into contact with him will have some funny interactions as long as the guy survives, but as I said, bow, so you have to hit headshots in order to actually get the incarnate, which isn't the easiest thing to do with a bow, but split flights does help get some lucky shots onto the targets. So yeah, I would say Dread and Paris are decent weapons. They are okay in terms of damage. They are pretty good at dealing with large group of enemies, especially in the hallway, and they can abuse something like hunter munitions really well if you want to go that way. But the Dread itself has enough slash procs to actually get slash procs even without hunter munitions, on the primary fire at least, which is quite nice, and the secondary fire is mostly used to actually do damage to a large group of enemies rather than just a single enemy. Overall, I like it a lot. Really high stats, really decent, and I'm gonna rank it right now. So for Dread or Paris, daily driver, no, because it's a bow and you're gonna have situations where bows are pretty bad to use on. Level cap viability, I would probably say no, because the galvanized CO on it is almost non-existent. It's just an additive 100% that just exists. Utility, really bad. It's a bow, and bows are, you know, on their own, bows are pretty bad, and especially this one, you have to charge it with headshots on a bow. So not the easiest thing to do. You need to have some kind of CC ability or to use Magus anomaly, otherwise, or not anomaly, Magus, what do you call it? The tether thing, anyway. Why do I not remember? I may, like, this. You do this and it tethers people, for real. I don't remember, it's like 2 a.m. and I work tomorrow and I have to like wake up in 5.5 hours and I'm still doing this video. I don't care at this point. But you know, utility really bad. Priming, no range. Bow with no projectile, you know, fall off. You don't lose damage by the projectile traveling a lot, and the projectile can travel infinite and go through infinite bodies, so range is decent, not bad. Early game accessibility, horrible. Incarnate weapons, all of them are not accessible. There are late game weapons, so really bad. Ammo economy, on the other hand, is really good because encountered weapons do not consume from your normal ammo, and the normal ammo on the Dread is really hard to run out, especially with the encountered version giving it extra stats. So Dread is gonna take... I don't think it's gonna take a preference, it's gonna take our first ban votes. Overall, if you like bows, you're gonna like the Dread on Paris. There are better AoE bows that can just do the work of the Dread or the Paris way better. And they're free to get. Nataruk, hello. So I wouldn't use it. I wouldn't use it, to be honest. So after this, we have one of the most used primary weapons, especially at higher Mars, and that is the Ignis Wraith. So the Ignis Wraith is the king of room clearing when it comes to, you know, like playing the game lazily, because it's a beam that has infinite punch through, basically. Doesn't benefit as much from multi-shot if I remember correctly, but that doesn't matter really, because as long as you take a Warframe that has a damage buffing ability, this will go absolutely crazy, and we're gonna see that in action right now. So you see the procs? This is without any kind of stacks. Now with stacks, I mean, these are level 180, and I don't have emerald shards on my Siren. If you don't believe me, here are the shards that I have on my Siren. I don't play a lot of Siren. I don't really care. This is the build that I had on the Ignis Wraith as well. Not much to say. It is a very, very OP gun, and it is very, very easily accessible, and you can get it to do some insane stuff with a lot more crit, hunter munitions, riven mods, fire rate buffs, like vigilante mods. There's a plethora of things that you can do with this, and they try to nerf it by giving it less ammunition, but overall, it doesn't care. It really doesn't care. It is still top tier, and it will stay top tier no matter what. So, ranking it, Ignis Wraith, daily driver, it can be. The fact that it's a beam weapon makes it very easy to use. It's limited by range a bit, so you cannot take it on planes of Eidolon or any open worlds, which is the only reason why I wouldn't put it as a daily driver, but maybe. You can use it on most missions, so this is a maybe. Level cap viability 100%. If you're using any kind of buffing frames, it can benefit from buff up frames as much as you'd like, basically. Beam weapons in general benefit from buff up frames the most because of their high status chance, their high dot rates, are damage over time, and damage ticking, let's say. Damage ticking is basically whenever you shoot the gun that is a beam, when do you see the actual damage number and the actual damage happening? On beam weapons, even with low fire rate, you can take the beam, you can get ticks of damage very consistently and very quickly, as they happen multiple times per bullet. So really strong. Utility, very good for a high level weapon. 200 ammo in the mag, no recoil, just shoot, spray and pray to whatever you want. It will die, especially with the weapon buffing frame. And then priming, not really, you cannot prime with it. It's one of the few things that it cannot do. The range of it is pretty bad. I believe the range of the Ignis Wraith is at a 20 meter, right? 30 meter. 30 meters is okay. Not the greatest, not too bad. Early game accessibility, one of the easiest weapons to acquire from early game. And ammo economy is really good since you're going to be killing a lot of enemies with one mag. It's going to be very easy to refill that mag without issues. And you have another mag of 200 ammo before you can actually use another one. So it is really hard to run out of ammo on this weapon. You just, I don't know, you wouldn't need to be using it on the ground for like at least a minute without hitting anything. And then it would still probably not run out of ammo. So overall, Ignis Wraith is another one that is a must-have. Early game, mid game is something that most people don't use because they think it's boring. But Lazy Man's late game weapon, Ignis Wraith, is a beast, an absolute beast. So the next weapon, actually I'm gonna keep this one for this weapon. Next weapon we're gonna show is the Komorex. Our first sniper rifle. It's not the only one, there is one more that is the Sporelacer. We're gonna talk about that later. I don't have it because it's expensive to build, but you're gonna see. They're very common. The Komorex, the AoE from it doesn't come from this fire, but this, where you get to the second zoom and you get 100% viral damage into your gun and an explosion radius of 3.6 meters. So when you're looking at the Komorex and looking at its stats, this is said nowhere. We don't really know what's happening on the stats, but because we know the damage is viral, we can go full corrosive and go to town. The Riven mode I have adds a lot of utility as well as crit damage, so really good. Overall performance wise, I'm gonna showcase it without the Riven to show you that it's still good, because it is a very high disposition weapon. Now I do have Kavat buff, so it's not this strong, but trust me, it can still one-shot enemies with ease when it comes to this. The range, unlike the Battacor, is actually 3.6 meters, so it doesn't hit the front enemy by shooting the back enemy this time. I'm gonna wait for my Kavat buff to run out. Also, with my Raven it's just like this, with something like a big buff it's just like this. So you can do something like this if you really like. Really funny, and as you see, it can still one-shot level 180 heavy gunners. And why is that? Well, it's because of the shot combo. Are you seeing the shot combo counter? It's going up by 4 every time I shoot because of the high multi-shot. And the shot combo counter is basically telling me that you're gonna do this many times your weapon's damage. It goes down slowly. It goes down slowly, but in endless missions especially, you can keep it up to very high amounts, and the higher it is, the more damage your weapon is gonna deal. So right now we're on a 3x combo. It goes up to 3.5, I believe. It never goes past that. I've seen some videos trying to go past that, and it probably never do reach past that. And yeah, when it reaches 3x combo, you're seeing that any headshot absolutely destroys these guys and deals a lot of damage. And that is because we have a 4 multi-shot weapon that deals 4 initial hits that are this strong, and then it deals 1 more initial hit that has corrosive and viral. So very strong weapon. I'm gonna remove this Riven and add some fire rates with acceleration. I'm gonna show you what it does now without the Riven mode. Normally we have the 3.5x zoom, and as you can see, it can still one-shot enemies pretty easily. Overall, Komorex is very underrated in my opinion. Some really nice stuff. The first zoom as well, because it has an 8 punch through, has some nice synergies with Zada's Whispers and Mag Bubble. Overall, and a weapon I would most likely recommend. Raven mods on this are very cheap, so you can easily get one as well that can fit you. And you know, nothing more to say here. viral explosion, innate armor mutation, a lot of damage. The AoE is 3.6 meters, and that's all we need to know. So, ranking it? Shit, okay. Oh, did it again. Anyways, daily driver. It is a sniper rifle, so not really. Level cap viability. I have a video where I have one-shotted the heavy gunner demolished on Mars with this gun. It is actually one bullet hitting him, and because it had 4 multi-shot, it would do 4 hits of 1 million each, and 4 more for 800k each. So the guy got completely one-shotted. There is nothing he could actually do. So easily doing level cap. Utility is pretty bad here. It's a sniper rifle. It has some interesting mechanics where, for example, if we shoot from firing from the hip, it is very inaccurate, but then if we aim with our second zoom, then the bullets become AoE, and you get a bit more AoE like that, but it's still not enough to warrant decent utility. Priming this is something this can easily do. We have this with innate viral as well, so very good primer, especially with a high base status chance. Range of it is 3.6 meters. Not the greatest. Okay-ish. Early game accessibility. Now this is where this weapon shines. You can get it directly from your energy lab, and I believe it's MR8. It is MR8. You can get this very early on, and the stats deceive a lot of people for the low damage. It doesn't have low damage at all. Ammo economy, it has innate ammo mutation with 15 ammo pickup and 20 ammo of the mag. I rarely ever run out of ammo with this weapon, and even if I do, I probably haven't picked up an ammo pickup that would take me back to a full mag, which is more than enough to kill a group of enemies and get your ammunition back. So, almost never running out of ammo. The Komorex goes with the preference rank, because I still believe as a sniper rifle, you need to be fond of snipers and like sniper rifles to use it. 3.5x zoom can feel a bit weird to use, especially in close hallway missions, so this is definitely a preference. Up next we have the Latron Prime, and the Latron Prime is the second encounter weapon of the list. Latron is something that, in my opinion, is very, very strong. However, it has a bit of disadvantages from being an encounter weapon, and we're gonna see. So, the normal fire is a second or a semi-auto, decently strong primary fire. I mean, it is not Burston level and it is not Zenith level, but this is pretty decent. I can appreciate this. Now, the secondary fire is where things go crazy with the exclamation points. No recoil whatsoever, and really, really good damage. You're gonna see that if we're clever with it and the way you use it, we can get some insane results because of the bouncing. One thing I wish it had was a tiny bit more range, but overall it is something that it is very useful. This is the main weapon that I use with my mag. I don't play mag to something like level cap, so this is perfect for me because all I do is press 3. These guys are easy to headshot, and then you just mag bubble one of them. If enemies are caught in the middle, they are completely one-shot. So, overall, really good. This is the Latron build that I have. This is the Latron Riven that I have. I know, very lucky, don't mind me. Diminishing returns from aptitude and insertion, but overall, you know, you can... no, wait. This. Did you just do that? I just like having raw damage more than having some kind of bleed proc, but as you can see, bleed proc is definitely something worth building for. But I mean, who doesn't like the 6-digit damage numbers more than these bleed procs, right? And this is why I use Oration instead. But if you want to be building properly, that is what you would do. 100 munitions there. Overall, really nice. So ranking it. Daily driver, absolutely. It is a semi-automatic that turns into an AoE. Very, very good for any type of mission that you want to take it to. Level cap viability, 100%. It has a lot of damage. It can prime for itself a bit with a normal fire, and then you switch to secondary fire and you do a lot of damage. But obviously a primer would help a lot more. Utility is okay. It is an incarnate weapon, but thankfully the incarnate version of it is super OP and it can help with a group of enemies, enemies that you don't even see on your screen, because it just bounces on every hallway and does whatever, and then it can destroy crates as well, so you can get some decent loot out of it. Priming, it can, but not recommended. Range, 4 meters, but it bounces a lot of times, so you know, 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, it just goes crazy. Really good range. Early game accessibility and counter weapons, so not great. And ammo economy, absolutely fantastic. We have a base ammo max of 540 on a semi-automatic rifle with 20, or wait, was it 30? How many bullets was it? I think it's 20, but I'm not sure. Oh no, it's 40. Okay, so 40 bullets that you absolutely destroy everything with, and then you have to charge it again. With CC abilities, it becomes decently easy. It's not like the Dread, and you know, I think it's fine to charge it. It's not so bad to charge it. I think the Dread is horrible to charge because it's a bow, but this one is fine because it's a hits gun, and overall, very cool gun. I think I will give this a must-have, obviously. Like, incarnate weapon that is very, very strong in terms of damage and have decent utility is a must-have, in my opinion. Up next, we have the Mutalist Cernos. Mutalist Cernos is one of these bows that are lost to the void because of one reason and one reason alone, and that is the Proboscis Cernos. Because the Proboscis Cernos, people probably know this, but to build this you need this, so this just goes on the vault and you never build it again, unfortunately. But it is definitely worth building. So I've made a video already about this. I'm gonna show you the Riven mode and the build. Longbow Sharpshot, I still haven't maxed it, guys. I don't play the game currently, I'm doing work and shit. But we're gonna see that first shot deals nothing, and then, oh, he was armor stripped, but the AoE from it goes nuts after that. Now you get Kavat buff randomly, so insane. One thing I want you to notice is this is Split Flight's buff, and as you see, without me doing anything, it's refreshing itself because the cloud is still hitting enemies and doing stuff, so this is why this weapon is super good. Where is my Kavat buff? Is it gone finally? Oh no, 5 seconds. Overall, multiplicative CO on both firing modes, and lots of damage coming from dots, self-priming. You can see so many procs with the triple dot setup, and yeah, I mean, it is nasty, not gonna lie. And you can get a lot of stuff with it. You can just build it for a toxin and you get viral toxin and cold as well on one shot. There is a lot of stuff to do when using this. One bad thing about it is that you have to go for headshots, but even if you don't, we're gonna see from this guy that he dies just fine even if we don't headshot. Headshot just increases his damage to insane levels, so really good in general. Not much more to say. So let's rank it. So daily driver, no, it's a bow, so I cannot recommend this as a daily driver. Level cap viability, one of the best weapons to do level cap with, in my opinion. Utility is decent for a bow for sure, because you can actually just let the cloud do the work for you after you shoot it. It can kill, it can prime for you the cloud, and you can do a lot of stuff with it, with just having this as a primer, letting the cloud do its work, and then swapping weapons and just seeing the cloud completely prime everyone that comes to that direction, like a primary version of the Zenithar, kinda. Priming, it excels at priming. 200% status chance, a lot of procs, force toxin proc with a lot of other procs going on as well onto the cloud itself, and the cloud that takes damage over time with 200% status chance, absolutely insane for priming. Range is decent at a, what was it? I believe the range is 6 meters. So you see me hitting this guy from here. That's 4 meters. And this is 7 meters. So around 4 meters. What the hell? Well, it's too close, but it's around 3 to 4 meters, even though it doesn't write it somewhere. I think it's still pretty decent, especially considering split fights and accuracy that will help you, but the main thing that gives this weapon decent AoE is the fact that the bullet stays on the ground with the cloud, and then any enemies that come to that cloud from the same direction can get primed immediately. So I would say the range is only decent, not bad, not great. Early game accessibility, this is way easier to get than some of the other guns that we're gonna talk about here. It's a Mastery Rank 7 weapon, one of the lowest one we've seen so far, only exception the Catchmoon, which has no Mastery Rank requirement. And overall, I think the Mutalist Cernos is a must-have. Why is it a must-have? Because it is just super useful on a lot of situations. Even as a bow, the amount of stuff you can do with the Mutalist Cernos are absolutely amazing. So I would say that everyone should have one in their arsenal to use for whatever they prefer to do on a mission, because even though Shedu can do stuff when it comes to normal exterminate missions, when it comes to camping in a survival mission, the Mutalist Cernos can excel at that with a secondary weapon that can kill. So up next, we'll have an interesting one that I don't even have in my arsenal. So the Mutalist Quanta, I've used it before but overlooked it. So this is a low crit weapon with a charge radial attack of 4.4 meters. That can increase to, I believe, 8 meters, depending on how many of the balls you throw at it. So here is the interesting thing about the Mutalist Quanta. You're not gonna use it as an AoE weapon or as a primer. What I saw when searching for this weapon, and it's the reason that I'm gonna probably pick it up again and try some stuff out, is that the secondary fire is basically a volt shield. It gives you electricity damage to your weapons and increased critical damage. And when I heard that, I was very confused, for sure, because I was like, how does that make any sense as a Mutalist weapon to give it electric damage? And then, like, how do you even, like, how does that work? Now, there is the bursting mass mod. If you guys have used it, and you can tell me how it feels like. Now, obviously, 15 meter radius is absolutely disgusting. I think there is no question about 15 meter radius being completely insane. So I can imagine this could be like a Nova Nullstar if you mod it correctly, but I haven't given this weapon a fair chance yet, so I cannot get my opinion on it. So we're gonna rank it as a question mark and expect a video on the Mutalist Quanta so we can see its capabilities. Up next, we're gonna see the most used weapon in Warframe in 2023, and that was the Nataruk. And it makes sense. Nataruk is the weapon you get from a quest. I almost did some very bad things. It's a weapon you get from a quest, basically. And overall, it is very, very nice. It has infinite ammo, so no ammo issues whatsoever. It has a mechanic similar to the Cinta, if people have taken a look at the Cinta, where you get infinite ammo by shooting it. So Cinta and this are gonna be basically placed in the same category, which is why I didn't take a look at the Cinta. And we're gonna take a look at my build, non-Riven build. Trying to keep it friendly for new players. If we wanted to add an arcane adapter here, you would probably go for either longbow sharpshot or deadhead. I think longbow sharpshot is the best one to use here because it's multiplicative and it's not that hard to go for headshots in this game. But we're gonna see that even without an arcane adapter, the Nataruk is good enough to do it. The last guy died because of the Hunter Munitions proc. So you can see infinite puncher doing its work. It is quite nice. Critical delay works really well with this weapon if you're first starting to play it, because you can get used to the mechanic of taking perfect shots all the time. When you get better, you can add your fire rate back. And you can go nuts with it. So overall, Nataruk is nice. As a bow, it is extremely OP in my opinion. Very fun to use, actually. As you see, the punch through is not through walls, only through bodies. Unfortunately, if it was through walls, it would be epic, but it would also be most likely unbalanced. But yeah, overall, I would say it's pretty good, considering especially I don't have an arcane adapter on this, which adds 360% damage to the gun. This is absolutely insane. So, we're gonna rank over here. So, daily driver, even though it is a bow, actually no, I would say no, it's a bow. Level cap viability. Yes, we've seen a lot of people do level cap with this gun. It is very strong. It is strong enough to do level cap. Utility, infinite ammo, 3 firing modes essentially, but no kind of utility to get actual AoE on it with radial attack. So utility is on a mid. Priming, it cannot prime. We're gonna see that even though it's it has radiated reload mine here, I could get a way better mode on this, and you know, you can get aptitude, you can get hammer shots. I don't have the space and I don't want to invest into this more because I personally don't use it as much. I think it's good, I just don't use it as much. So overall, really good weapon. So early game accessibility, you get it from the new work quest, so not so early game, but definitely doable to get it quite early game. Recently, a friend of mine completed the new work quest while he was mastery rank 9. So I would say pretty good for new players, very accessible. Ammo economy, infinite ammo, we don't have to even consider that. Nataruk is for sure weapon that you can check out for sure, invest on it for sure. It can help you do a lot of stuff. Up next, we got the weirdest one in this list, and that is the Opticor Vandal. Why is it the weirdest one? Well, it is the only weapon on the list that multi-shot doesn't benefit the radial attack. If you wanna play off of the radial attack, adding multi-shot on this is bad. And that sucks. Now, we're gonna see that as a weapon that you want to use to one-shot people, it is pretty heckin' good. You know? It is pretty good. Slash procs on it if they don't bug out. I don't know what happened there. with more stacks that deal less slash proc. Okay, there we go, 144k. That's what I expected to see. Yeah, you know, really decent if you want to go that way, for sure. But we're talking about AoE here. We're looking at AoE weapons, and honestly, because of the way this works, we're gonna compare it with two versions of it. So we're gonna first of all do this. Then we're gonna change the secondary weapon so we automatically lose the stacks. Put our buff down and shoot them. Okay, I'm not gonna count the 2 bullets that missed, so we have 14 bullets. And now we're gonna swap the galvanized chamber for primed firestorm. So we're gonna see what is better now. I've done the test before, they're not that different in terms of the final results. Obviously the initial damage is going to be way less, but once it stacks... So... you see that now the AoE is dealing more damage, but the initial hit is dealing less damage. So we're getting more shots to kill the enemies, but the AoE on it is better. So... it is really weird. I'm not sure why it doesn't benefit from multi-shot on the AoE itself, but that's how it works, unfortunately. Now, is it worth taking off your AoE to add this, or taking off your multi-shot to add this? Probably not, but my Raven here has multi-shot. It is something that I try to remove, and something that I try to get away from, to get Toxin instead and remove the Malignant Force mode to get more damage in order to make this better. But yeah, I'm gonna rank it right now. So the daily driver, absolutely not. Charge mechanic only, no just shooty. Level cap viability, it is decent for level cap. I believe it has multiplicative CO. I have to check that. So you're gonna have to give me a bit. Where was it? Opticor Vandal. There it is. So it is additive. And if you want to see what I'm talking about, Opticor Vandal charge hits can AoE additive. Explosion does not scale with multi-shot modes, so radial hit only receives CO bonus on target struck by the laser, so the AoE doesn't get galvanized CO for the rest of the targets, only for the base target. Very underwhelming. I'm gonna give it our first bad, or our second bad rather. So using the weapon as the weapon itself is good, but using it as an AoE weapon is not something that's gonna fly, unfortunately. Up next we have the Prisma Lenz. When the miners realized we're getting a new version of the lens, I was like, oh my god, we're gonna get a Tenet lens. I was so hyped, and we got this. So it's underwhelming for one thing and one thing only. The lens comes with innate, blast, and no other elements. If we could use, I don't know, anything, heat, toxin, I don't know, even cold lens, anything to just increase our damage a bit further, it would make it super good. But now we're left with this, have to go viral, have to go hunter munitions and pray to god. Riven mode replaces toxin once again. Pretty good Riven, to be honest. One really good thing about the lens is that it's an excellent abuser of primary frostbite. So the way to save this gun and to make it good is to use Chroma, a guy that just gives you base damage instead of multiplicative damage. So with Chroma, if we unpause this, guys, just take damage, we're gonna see that the slash procs, even with 0 stacks, go really crazy, and with stacks, 62k I think on that guy. Overall, it's very reliant on Hunter munitions, which is not something that I obviously prefer, but with primary Frostbite getting so many stacks, Chroma is a way to save this gun and make a good use out of it, but Chroma is boring, unfortunately. Now the Vex armor is out, so we're seeing the actual damage of it just being stacked. Still decent. I'm gonna showcase it with Wisp once again. Just gonna add the fire rate buff and show you what it can do. Oh, I have to add this because I didn't impose him. Guaranteed cold proc helps me get primary frostbite stacks very quickly. Cold procs give you increased critical damage, and with very high critical chance with guaranteed red crits, you can do some decent damage with it. But the slash proc is very, very dependent on it, and you have to obviously go roar. So let's rank it. So Lenz, daily driver, no, absolutely not. Level cap viability, no, absolutely not. This is an AoE weapon with low damage, so unfortunately no level cap viability. If you take it to level cap, you're gonna have a hard time killing the demolished. It's probably gonna take you every bullet that you have, so you have to pick up a bullet or bring out an ammo pad and then hope for the best. So no. Utility, really good actually. This is where this weapon shines in my opinion, because the guaranteed cold proc first of all gives you CC, second of all gives you crit damage on any weapon that you use on this enemy, and third of all the range on it is good and innate ammo mutation on its own. So some pretty decent utility stuff coming with this weapon. Priming is okay on it actually. You have a guaranteed cold proc, so with enough status chance we can get viral, blasts and radiation, and even corrosive if we're using a Warframe like Siren, or if we're using corrosive and we use nourish for the viral part. There is a lot of stuff that you can do to get this weapon to prime, so I would say it is a viable primer. Range on it is actually pretty okay, 7.2 meters is good. And early game accessibility, this is a Baroque tier weapon, so I don't think this is something to say that it is easily accessible. The normal lens is easily accessible, but it's way worse than the Prisma Lenz, so can't recommend it. And ammo economy is horrible. We get ammo pickup of 1 and an ammo maximum of 8. It is usable, but it is still pretty horrible. You can easily run out of ammo with it, and you need a mutation mod along with the overall mutation that you're gonna use. I just don't have it because I was disappointed on the weapon and didn't want to max it any further. So for me, this gets a preference. You can make good use of it with stuff like Chroma and get it to work even up to very high level, but overall, who plays Chroma? Let's be honest. The guy needs a rework desperately. So, up next we have the gun we talked about a bit before, the Proboscis Cernos. Also I know Phantasma there and I'm not taking a look at it. All I'm gonna tell you is just use the normal one and not the Phantasma Prime. The normal Phantasma is better. Proboscis Cernos, this is a worse version of the Mutalist Cernos, unfortunately. So the Proboscis Cernos has some really good utility stuff, but that is unfortunately all there is. It has one of the lowest damage out of all AoE weapons. It needs you to do synergy building in order to get the most out of it. Right now we're gonna see at a corrosive based build to get actual decent damage onto these guys, so you can see what it can be capable of. So overall, the really good thing about it is that it grabs enemies and gets them to the middle. I have Kavat buff, so damage is gonna be good with a Kavat buff, obviously. If it wasn't, it would be weird, especially with the Riven mode that I have. I'm gonna show it, since I do have the Kavat buff. Crit damage, multi-shot damage plus recoil, so CD is pretty high. Kavat buff is gonna help me get a lot of damage from it. And another Kavat buff, back to back. What the hell? Whatever. Overall, it's okay in damage. I'm not sure. Okay, I lost it. Good. Like, yeah. You can do a lot of corrosive procs on the enemies with the grabbing of the tentacle, because every time the enemy gets grabbed by the tentacle, they get a damage instance, and the damage instance can proc status effect. So overall, it's okay. Damage of it is fine, not the greatest for sure, but it's fine. Ammo economy is a tiny bit worse than the lens, so as an AoE weapon, it's normal, I would say. We're gonna see what it does fully stacked as well. You know, the issue I have is I would think the second shot or the third shot should have killed them, and it didn't. So how do you fix this weapon? You take Garuda and you do the thing that I did on the Proboscis Cernos video. I'm not gonna showcase it again. Just know you can build gas on it, which is the reason that I have it here. And because Garuda forces bleed procs, then you can get a bleed proc out of every gas proc, every tentacle procs gas again. You get a huge cloud that just procs Zarr's Whisper and slash proc over and over and over again, and gets really crazy. So synergistic, good utility, but overall okay-ish only. Let's rank it. So daily driver, no, hell no. Bow with only AoE. Level cap viability, if you use it as a primer, yes, but for killing level cap, only the mobs. For killing mobs on level cap with Garuda and the setup that I talked about, I've tried it and it can actually do well, even at almost no stacks of your galvanized modes, which is very impressive. But for killing the actual demolished, no. Utility, one of the best out of any single primary weapon. Groups up enemies, can almost strip them, can do a lot of stuff with the cloud if you go for gas, if you use like a Garuda setup. Overall, there is a lot of stuff to be done and a lot of stuff that you can do with this weapon's utility. Priming, obviously a very good primer with its very high base status chance of, I believe, 49%. Range is very good actually on 7 meters, but, and this is a big but, if you add primed Firestorm to the Proboscis Cernos, the actual grabbing of the tentacles to group up enemies for you doesn't get increased. So that is a huge disappointment, because it could make the weapon way better as a small quality of life buff. Until that happens, I'm gonna say the range is decent. Early game accessibility, this is an MR16 weapon that you have to build 4 weapons to get, so not the easiest to access, but it is okay in terms of, you know, in comparison with other weapons. And ammo economy is a bit worse than the lens, so it's terrible. Overall, this is a preference, once again. If you like the Proboscis Cernos, obviously use it. With the setup, it can get very good. And the utility on it is really nice, but I wouldn't recommend it to everyone. So that's that. After that we have the Quellor. Quellor is a weapon that is very similar to the Aeolak, where it's fully automatic, and then the secondary fire is a very strong AoE. The AoE here comes from infinite punch through and not actually any kind of explosion, unfortunately. But it is a very strong AoE with guaranteed impact proc, so you can go something like internal bleeding very easily, and it also has multiplicative CO on the secondary fire, so you can get some nasty damages. Primary plated round is something that you can easily go on this gun, especially if you're doing level caps, because reloading the full mag will award you with a whopping 580% damage increase on top of multiplicative CO. I mean, that is insane. It is really insane. So we're gonna see that in action. Sorry. Forgot Riven. Forgot Riven, you're right. Here it is. Pretty good. So, one thing that I don't like about this gun is the primary fire. Compared to other weapons that are in the same class, this is one of the lowest damage primary fires, with a bit of sideways recoil as well, which is not great, obviously. Here is the secondary fire. This is without any kind of arcane, so this would probably one-shot if I was using internal bleeding. Now we're gonna see with the arcane. No kind of priming, and it can do this, so that is very impressive. Overall, it can be better. I would probably suggest that you prime these enemies if you're gonna go that way, but trust me that there is a video by Dystopia that he has done level cap with this gun with ease without even needing the kind of bleed procs that you can get from it with internal bleeding, just because of multiplicative CO. So the damage of this gun is no joke if you can set it up properly. It has a bit of issues for second reload, minimal punch through on the primary fire. I don't know, it doesn't really help at all, so it doesn't really do anything, and low fire rate, so you need to build it for fire rates. Overall, decent weapon. I'm gonna go rank it. So daily driver, yes, absolutely. Primary weapon with a lot of ammo and secondary fire that does decent AoE in front of you. Nice daily driver, in my opinion. Level cap viability, for sure. There is a video from Dystopia. I'm gonna add it to the description to show you that you're able to actually do level cap and damage cap with this weapon very easily. Utility, not great. I mean, 4 seconds reload, sideways recoil, no kind of AoE, just infinite punch through. Shotgun on the AoE itself, so really bad range, not great. Priming, not great either. Range, we just talked about it, no. Early game accessibility, this weapon was pretty easy to build if I remember correctly. Didn't require any crazy stuff and you just get it from your dojo, so I mean, it doesn't require some railjack missions, but it's easier to get it before you get the Nataruk, so I would say it's decent. Decent enough to get, not very hard. And when it comes to ammo economy, this thing never runs out of ammo. It's a machine gun that, you know, even though it consumes a lot of ammo with the secondary fire, it can get it back very easily with its 80 innate ammo pickup and its very large 900 ammo maximum. So you can easily manage your ammo with this. Overall, I would have Quellor as a preference weapon. Decent daily driver. Not something that I would recommend for sure to everyone, but it is something that if you like weapons like this, you would appreciate a lot on your build and your arsenal. So definitely take a look at it if you're into that kind of stuff. So up next we have China's favorite weapon, and I'm not trying to get, you know, I'm not trying to get racist here. This is the Shedu. It is the second non-canon that we're gonna take a look at, and it is a blast, no pun intended. Very low damage on it, but literally infinite ammo. This is what Bubonico used to be. So we shoot and boom, we have max ammo almost instantly. So with fire rate, if we don't let it run to 0, we literally have infinite ammo. Now, here is the bad thing about the Shedu. Absolutely negative damage. You need direct hits to do decent damage to the enemies. But overall with stacks, it can be really good, especially at base Stahlta. But yeah, you can see clearly that, especially against those heavier units, it does struggle a bit. But I think it's really nice. I think it feels really good to use. I think it has some great utility with the explosion when you run out of ammo that reduces or removes the sentient resistances completely and destroys everything around you with a guaranteed impact proc. And overall, even though it has low damage, infinite ammo, really good multi-shot, innate heat, innate electricity, so roar on this can do wonders. I mean, it's really nice. It's really nice. So this is the build. I have an Acricron Riven, additive CO, so do not go actually I do have Serration. Yeah, makes sense. The damage of it is too low. I have to go Serration. I just have to, in order to do, because if you ever run out of merciless stacks, you're completely screwed. If you run out of merciless stacks, you cannot play. So obviously it is decent in terms of damage on an actual mission. Simulacrum enemies level 180 are super tanky, so of course it's gonna struggle here. But for base Stahlta, this is a very good gun to have. And obviously, you know, 20-meter explosion around the user from depleting your magazine. You have some really cool stuff onto the Shedu. And I think it was, or no, I'm sure it was on the honorable mention for my top primary weapons video. It is very strong and very good in terms of utility. So now let's go rank it. Daily driver, if it had faster fire rate for sure, right now it's just decent at it. Level cap viability, not really, unfortunately. It's the only thing that it lacks, and that is damage. So even though you have infinite ammo, you won't have troubles running out of ammo. It takes you quite a while to get level cap with it, except you have a godly setup with the damage buffing. Like, yeah, I mean, but I can pick Sarin and just level cap with it. Yeah, anything can level cap with Sarin, buddy. Sarin is broken. If you level cap with Sarin, you are, you know, you are not doing just a lot of stuff differently. It feels like cheating. Oh, now that I'm not saying that doing level cap with Sarin, especially solo, isn't impressive, because Sarin takes a lot of skill to actually not die on that high level. But at the same time, let's be honest, Sarin can make any weapon deal enough damage to kill level cap enemies. So, not level cap viable with the Shedu. Utility, one of the best in the primary weapons category. Very high reload of the battery, reload speed of the battery. 20-meter explosion radius with guaranteed impact proc. It can destroy crates for you, it can help you find more loot, it can help you CC enemies a bit while you're waiting for your bullets to recharge, which only takes 0.3 seconds anyway, so you always have bullets. Some guaranteed impact procs on direct hits that are not crazy, like the Acceltra Prime. Overall, really nice utility. Now, priming is something that I wouldn't say this weapon is good at, even though it could be. And that is because it has no IPS damage. If it did have IPS damage, then priming would be viable. Range on it is on a 6.6 meters, and considering the ammo is infinite, this is a pretty good range, honestly, knowing the context of this gun. Early game accessibility, this is very hard to access, to be honest. The parts on everything from it drop from sentient enemies, and this only gets very common after you complete the new war, so you get this a bit after Nataruk, and then you have to fight a lot of sentient enemies to find it, so not the easiest gun to get. And ammo economy, infinite ammo, I don't think we need to talk about that. I'm gonna have the Shedu as for sure. I don't think it's a must-have for everyone, but for sure, if you ever want to do AFK Steelpath, you want to go a Steelpath Fisher mission, you're gonna want to use this gun because it's gonna help you a lot. You're gonna like it, and you know, infinite ammo. You get a Wisp with double strength on the Fisher mission. You're gonna have some really good stuff happening on that mission. Up next, we have the Sporelacer kit gun. To build this just for this video, and the moment I built it I realized, what the frick is this? Why is it a shotgun when it is a primary version? You know, I heard people say that this is decent. Unfortunately, I was left underwhelmed. So, fully automatic, but look at the arc here. Like, really bad arc. Okay, why do I have infinite ammo reloads? Kavat, what are you doing? Can the buff go out? Thank you. Alright, anyways, now that we can actually sew it, now with stacks, I mean, thing is, it's alright, it's not crazy though, and overall this feels like a worse version of the Komorex, you know? It is okay because it's easily accessible, but I don't think this is worth building. Like, yeah, it can be fun, but I don't know. The damage is a bit too low for this to be worth building. But obviously you can make some nasty hunter ammunition setups, but base damage is just way too low, unfortunately. 2.4k, like, this is static core level of base damage, and I cannot use it at all. Even if I go for something like Prime Point Blank, still too low. Too low. So I wouldn't recommend it. Well, I kind of revealed my rank already, but we're gonna rank it anyway. Daily driver, no. Level cap viability, it's multiplicative CO, so probably yes. I haven't tried it, but anything with multiplicative CO can level cap. Utility, it's a kit gun. You can take residual arcanes, you can take Pox arcanes, so utility can always be pretty decent. Priming, it is innate toxin, not really the greatest. Range, atrocious, probably the worst one in the entire game with 2.1 meters, and this is why this was so underwhelming for me, because the secondary version has 4.7 and it can take prime fulmination if it wants to, but you know, I'm not using it, and in fact I don't use it on any secondary gun almost. I would use it in one, but I want to max it first. 4.7 meters. Why is this 2.1? It is so bad. So bad. Yeah, horrible. Early game accessibility, great. It is a kit gun. You get it from Deimos instantly, and then you buy the rest of the parts from Fortuna, so very easy to get. And ammo economy, I don't think this has ammo issues. I never really run out of ammo while testing, and it makes sense because you get 15 ammo back and waste 11 every mag, so really hard to run out of ammo as long as you keep killing. Issue is, damage is simply not there, and the AoE is way too small, so we're gonna put this as a bad. Now, next one is my favorite weapon in the game. This is the Stahlta. So, I think I've made myself clear on what I think about the Stahlta. I don't think I need to go into much further detail on why the Stahlta is working, but I am glad showcasing it whenever you need. Galvanized Aptitude is multiplicative on this gun on both firing modes, just like any other version of these kind of guns, Aeolak, Ambassador, stuff like that. Unlike the Aeolak and the Ambassador, both firing modes are super strong. Aeolak primary fire is a bit better than this, but secondary fire absolutely annihilates the Aeolak out of the map. And, you know, it can get some really insane stuff. Guaranteed impact proc, so you can go internal bleeding if you want, and your secondary fire will deal some insane damage. And the Riven mode, people have probably seen it by now, is this. Took me quite a lot of rolls to get this. These weren't the only two Stahlta Ravens that I got rolling, so trust me, this is a work of years in the making, even though it only says 42. So overall, it is really good on the primary fire because it has innate punch through bits. So as you can see, we can hit 3 enemies by hitting 1. And punch through is something that you would probably need on a weapon that doesn't have any AoE. But this one has that, and it also has an AoE fire that does this. So I mean, it just becomes even better, doesn't it? And, you know, obviously with stacks, we just use secondary fire. Can also add Prime Firestorm instead of like other stuff. Maybe Hammer Shot could go out for Prime Firestorm if I have the space. I don't really remember, but you know. Overall, both firing modes are very strong, and the secondary fire can one-shot pretty much anything in the entire game. So, if you're going for level cap on this, use secondary fire for mobs, use primary fire for demolished, and you won't even need to use any kind of armor stripping. It is crazy. So, ranking it, I don't think there is much to say here. Daily driver, yes. Level cap viability, yes. Utility, really good because it is... you just charge the shot and it just kills everything. You have a primary fire that for some reason has punch through. Punch through is insane utility always, so really appreciate that. And I mean, it just cannot prime. That's about it, but the utility of it is really nice overall. Guaranteed impact proc, as we said, for internal bleeding. There is a lot of stuff going on the Stahlta with utility. Priming, not great. Only thing that the Stahlta cannot do, but overall it has 3 IPS damages and innate radiation with a secondary fire. So, I mean, good, but not really worth it, obviously, when it is so strong. Range, it has 7.2 meter range, so it is really good. Prime Firestorm can take this more than 10 meters, so yeah, we like. Early game accessibility, this is a rank 10 weapon. You need to have the Sister of Parvos quest, no, not even Sister of Parvos. You need to have Deadlock Protocol completed, and you take its blueprint from Jackal, and then you go to Granum Void to take the rest of the parts. So not hard to build whatsoever. Ammo economy, laughably good. 40 ammo per pickup, 40 magazine. Perfect combination. You don't miss on any ammo by picking up a ammo pack, so this perfect. Overall, you know what I feel about the Stahlta. We have must have, like, maybe even like I could just say best ever. Like, this is, in my opinion, the strongest primary weapon in the entire game, the Stahlta. So you know how I feel about it. I don't need to talk about it anymore. Up next, Strun Prime, another encountered weapon, very strong. After the encountered weapon nerfs, where the multi-shot wouldn't count if a pellet would kill the target too early, so that kind of killed this gun in terms of charging it, but it's still very good at high level missions, so we're gonna take a look at it. I am getting also very sleepy, so bear with me as I'm trying to talk. So as you see, if you are not on a high level mission, this can charge in one shot, which is great. And now if we aim at it, it is completely accurate. And you may think it's kit scan, but it's actually a projectile. Really good. Now the big part about it is that if you don't aim and you just shoot, the projectiles spread around like an Kuva Ogris and you get a lot more AoE that is spammable. So Strun Prime is something special in my opinion, the incarnate version. It is something that you have low damage, but it is, I can compare it with Cedo. The only reason I think Strun Prime is not that great is because of the nerf to the incarnate mode charging, where if we change this guy's another butcher, look how much incarnate I'm gonna get from this butcher. Nothing. So that's level 180 butcher. If you get a ton of butchers, if you get a ton of enemies that cannot tank the shots, you're never getting the incarnate weapon of this gun. And that is the only reason why people don't like it, but overall, really, really great. So, ranking it, forgot the same scene, but daily driver, it's a shotgun that is, you know, hit scan. I mean, you can, it's not terrible, but it's a shotgun, so maybe. Level cap viability easily, very strong for level cap, and especially without the incarnate version. The primary fire deals a ton of damage with that bleed proc especially. Then utility, very nice. The not aiming part and increasing your AoE, something that when I found out, it immediately clicked, and this gun became in my head a million times better because of it. So very, very good. Priming, for sure possible with this. If you are looking for that experience, you can change status chance by 11.3%, and you're gonna see that this status chance is gonna go up to like that. This is base status chance. I don't know if you realize. So yeah, you can definitely prime with this. I don't care if it has not enough you know, stuff here. Add more. You can prime with this. Straight up. So yeah, I think it's great for that. I think we have great range because of the trick that we showed. Early game accessibility, unfortunately it's an incarnate weapon, so no. And ammo economy, every incarnate weapon has no issues with ammo because of the way they work and the fact that the incarnate charges do not consume any kind of regular ammo. So the Strun Prime, once again, must have. Very great weapon. You should take a look into it if you are avoiding it because of people calling it mediocre. Torid, the complete opposite. Everyone loves this gun. It's the complete meta that we have right now. And if you want to play it normally, if you want to utilize it the best, you would probably go something like this with a status heavy Torid by using this evolution. A lot of people go for this with Riven mods, but trust me, if you have the correct setup, 73% base status chance can do wonders. It can do wonders. I mean, you can go here. I found out that for base steel path I don't need heat, but imagine you would take this right here, you would remove hunter munitions completely, and then you would add as much heat as possible here and here, and you would go rhyme rounds here, and yeah, one more mode to combine with a toxin so you can actually use the heat proc. So yeah, there is a lot of things to be done with the Torid in terms of that, but right now we're gonna take a look at the crit version and go for the primary fire. So primary fire, we're gonna see that overall it is very good, and this is the AoE we have on the Torid actually. So if you go for this type of build with the extra crit on the primary fire, this actually does pretty well on its own. And even if you don't kill the enemies, which, well, spoiler alert, you will, because of the slash procs, especially if you hit the enemies directly, there is a lot of nice priming happening onto these enemies, so overall really good. If you want to see what the Incarnate looks with this build, thumbs up. Overall, really nice. So, Torid at the top of the meta completely right now. Really nice weapon. I know people probably intrigued by this. I think this is also good. Overall, all of these are good depending on what you want to do. I prefer this because I prefer overloading on status chance, and you know, this is just utility basically. I don't really use Torid for killing. It has enough damage on its own, so if I want to kill with it, I can just pick a Warframe that it can kill with. So this is it. We're gonna rank it. I mean, we shouldn't expect much here. Daily driver, yes. Primary fire is AoE. Secondary fire is a beam weapon that actually chains to enemies, so definitely a daily driver weapon. Level cap viability, easily the damage of it is nuts, and you can go some hidden inherent builds with the thing that I talked about. Or if you have an Riven mode, you can simply brute force damage and add hunter munitions. Still works, it's fine. Priming, clearly so we can do priming. 10 viral stacks are enough, and then we can add more and more and more to that. Range is decent. The range of it on the AoE is, I think, 4 meters or 5 meters, but because it stays on the ground, it is very, very strong. So this guy from here is 4 meters. From here he is around 4 to 5 meters, so pretty decent AoE. And then, oops, that's my sensitivity. Early game accessibility in current weapons, so no. Ammo economy, extremely good. It has 60 ammo with 10 ammo pickup and 15 magazines, so really good ammo economy. This is once again obviously a must-have weapon. Not much to say. Up next, Trumna. Trumna is a weapon that has a cult behind it. Obviously, you know, this is one of my favorites as well. The Riven mode that I have is this one. You can get a way better result with a better Riven mode that has innate toxin, so you can replace this mode without losing anything. Now, the Trumna has some issues, but overall it is really nice. We're gonna see this in action. So, first issue, recoil. There is a lot of recoil. Second issue, fire rate. Without any fire rate buff, it is low firing, so not great. But in terms of damage, the actual firing mode has a lot of it. It packs and punch. And you see that to unleash the secondary fire you need 5 kills, which is a lot. But it is 100% worth it. So these balls right there that fall through the Trumna, they basically deal damage on every single hit, and every single hit that they deal damage, they also deal 100% of the damage. No damage fall off, just 100% of whatever the damage is, and the damage of it is actually nuts. So we're gonna see that. You can imagine this was a hallway, this would be absolutely devastating in a hallway, a small hallway, anything like that. People dying in front of you, behind you, everywhere. So it does make sense why it takes 5 enemy kills to use it. Overall, in a normal mission, you can 5 squishy enemies very easily to unleash the power of this secondary fire, so I wouldn't say it's that bad to use. So we're ranking it. Daily driver for sure. God damn it. Because, you know, fully automatic with secondary fire AoE. Level cap viability for sure. Once again, it has additive CO, I believe, but the damage of the primary fire is just way too much that you can easily go level cap. Utility, it is pretty decent utility, but at the same time, to use the AoE you have to kill 5 enemies, so it loses a lot from that. So unfortunately, not the greatest, but not the worst either. Priming, it can prime It cannot prime. That's just, yeah, it doesn't prime. Sorry. Range, the range of it is absolutely nuts. It has on its own 6 meters and it can ricochet of surfaces, enemies exploding on every impact up to 7 times. 7 times of 6 meters is a lot. So, insane range, yeah. Early game accessibility, I mean, this is the easier way to get it than the Shedu. The Strumna as well, though, is MR12, I believe, so... Oh no, MR13, even worse, so... I mean, it's doable to get it very early, but you will probably complete the new war before you get the Terminus, so I'm not sure. Ammo economy, no issues whatsoever. You have 2 mags with 200 ammo and 60 ammo pickup, so... No issues whatsoever getting your ammo. Overall, I would have the Tromna as a for sure. Now, I'm not sure if it's must-have. Obviously, there is, you know, as an AoE, it is a for sure. As a normal weapon, it is a must-have. Like, if you wanna use this weapon to actually use this weapon for its sole purpose, then it is insane. But as an AoE weapon, it's just okay. Up next, we have the Kuva Bramma. So I left the Kuva and Tenet Weapons for last, and we're gonna take a look at them. So before we judge all of them, to save a bit of time because this video is taking too long, I'm gonna go ahead and judge all of them at the same time. So we're gonna start with the Bramma. The Kuva weapons, all of them got nerfs in the ammunition and got rebalanced that way, so unfortunately it got completely ruined. The Bramma was the worst one of them all. Right now, in order for me to use the Bramma, before I had this, but 5 ammo maximum is way too small, so I need ammo drum to actually play the game and get the first kills in order to do it. So obviously I don't have the best Bramma. I am brute forcing heat and heat procs through a hit Bramma, and I mean, it's like, okay. Also, who uses the alternate fire on this? Like, do you know anyone who does that instead of just shooting the gun? I legit didn't even know about it until I just saw it right now. Regardless, Bramma, aesthetically insane, used to be my favorite weapon way back in the day. Now it is a shadow of its former self. It can do pretty well overall. Before you get any stacks, it's terrible. After you get the stacks, you are golden. You are indeed golden. So yeah, overall decent. Additive CO, so we don't use galvanized aptitude at all. It can get a bit of work. I have this ribbon and I'm gonna keep it until the decides that they wanna bring this back to its old glory in a few years or so. I am still hoping the please fix. And then we're gonna have the Ogris. Ogris is by far the best AoE weapon in the game, in my opinion. It can do everything. It has damage, it has armor stripping capabilities, it has like priming capabilities, it can destroy everything in your path. You just speedrun missions with it, you can do everything with it. Overall, Nightwatch Napalm just super OP. With heavy caliber especially, to get a bit more AoE from that. Now you see on its own, the damage is just okay. And it does make sense because, you know, hit procs are the ones doing the damage before you actually get some stacks for your swords and the impact of the swords themselves to actually deal this decent damage. But yeah, I think 82 hit procs, regardless of context, is always good. But using this with Mirage, Because of its low ammunition, you go something like energized munitions, so you don't waste ammo. And then you just like this is from 0 stacks, by the way. That is from 0 stacks. So yeah, energized munitions and Mirage, the savior of this gun. Other setups would include some Sarin. Sarin also amazing with it. The build itself looks like this. Some Hellfire, so you get more hit procs overall. These two. It is a heat Kuva Ogris, so you get more of that juicy hit proc damage. So yeah, Sarin, a very good abuser of it, they can do wonders. Overall, extremely strong, the best AoE for me. Last but not least on the Kuva weapons is the Chakkhurr. I believe there is no other one, right? Yep, okay. Chakkhurr, if you want damage on an AoE weapon, no utility, nothing, just straight up damage, Chakkhurr is your gun. First of all, the ammo economy on the Chakkhurr is amazing with 3 ammo pickup, 1 in the mag, and 30 ammo maximum, so very hard to run out of ammo with it. And in terms of damage, it does something like this. With decent bleed procs even from 0 stacks, and with 1 stack, it gets super strong. Super nice bleed proc. Very easy to get a viral proc as well. Like there is very small amount of things limiting this gun, to be honest. It's just really nice. And overall, one thing that I want to mention is if you shoot it and then you spam fire, it's gonna take a while to reload, while if you tap R every time you reload, you see it gets way faster, and that can help you deal with more enemies and way faster. This is my Raven mode for it. I use Hush because this with Ivara is absolutely insane as a setup for endless missions. I'm gonna show you right now. So you go to an area where Eclipse gives you a lot of damage. Oh, oops. That's good enough. Then you add this funny arrow. Jump on it. Yeah, I mean, not much to say. Just an insane damage weapon. So we're gonna rank the next 3 on the Kuva weapons. So Bramma, daily driver, no, none of these are daily drivers, so let's get that out of the way. Level cap viability, I mean, with correct build maybe, but overall you have too little ammo to reliably do level cap, so no. Utility on it is terrible, unfortunately. You cannot do much with it. You cannot prime with it either because it is just an explosive bow with low status chance, so not great at that either. Very easily accessible early game, but you won't be able to use it early game, so I don't know why you would want it. And its ammo economy is absolutely terrible, which is the only reason the Bramma gets bad from me. I am sorry, Bramma lovers, I sympathize with you as I love this gun as well, but they killed it. They absolutely demolished it. We need a buff. I want my 10 ammunition back. Please, 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 Digital Extremes, save the Bramma. Kuva Ogris, level cap viability, yes. Utility, the greatest out of every AoE weapon in the game, for sure. Priming, it can, because of Nightwatch Napalm, you can get a lot of status procs onto Nightwatch Napalm and they can just reproc over and over. Range is the best out of every single AoE weapon in the game because of the inaccuracy and Nightwatch Napalm. Early game accessibility, very good because it's a Kuva Leech weapon, can get it after the old or the War Within. So yeah, I mean, crazy. And the ammo economy on it is the only thing holding it back. It's absolutely terrible. Ammo economy on the Ogress is one of the worst out of any AoE weapon. And this is why energized munitions completely save it. So even with that, the Ogress is a must-have weapon. The meta for arbitrations, the meta for profit taker, the meta for doing Steel Path Exterminate missions with the Mirage setup that I showed. Overall, just a super useful weapon. Should be on everyone's arsenal and should be utilized by pretty much everyone. Kuva Chakkhurr, level cap viability for sure. The highest damage out of almost every AoE weapon. Also, I forgot one weapon that we're gonna take a look after. Utility is really good because you pretty much don't like it's gonna sound weird, but it feels like you're not reloading on the Chakkhurr because it has one ammo on the mag. You just press R and then you shoot again, and then I don't know. If you ever played the Vectis or the Vectis Prime, you will know what I mean. It feels like you have infinite ammo. It feels like you cannot stop shooting with it. So overall, you have a locked fire rate on the Chakkhurr, but it doesn't matter because the damage of it is absolutely through the roof. Priming, it cannot do. Range on it is really nice at 7 meters, so very decent. Early game accessibility, once again, Kuva weapon, so really good. And ammo economy, it's really hard to run out of ammo with it, so if you're a new player, I would definitely suggest heading for this weapon as early as possible to get a nice AoE weapon. We're gonna take a look at some Tenet weapons that can help you with that, but in my opinion, this and the Envoy that we're gonna see are the two best Kuva/Tenet weapons to get. But before we get to those, and the Chakkhurr is obviously a must-have, we forgot to mention one weapon, the Tomb Figure, and I'm not sure how I missed it. Should have been below the Torid. Gonna add it right now, so we can talk about it. So the Tomb Figure. This weapon is the best kit gun in the game. By far, it's better than the Sporelacer secondary, it's better than anything ever. So, what does it do exactly? Well, we have a kit gun that has very good range, it has decent damage with little to no effort, and it can honestly do it almost all. So the thing about the Tomb Figure that makes it so much more OP than other AoE weapons is the fact that the ammo economy on this weapon is, well, ridiculous would be an understatement. So we have a battery, if we want, that makes this weapon charge back really fast. But even if we don't add the battery, 23 ammo in the mag that shoot this. I mean, this is without serration or galvanized aptitude, by the way. My build is shit. I am still on my first magazine. Full ammo in. The best part about it, if I need single target damage, this spammable single fire thing is absolutely disgusting broken. So, yeah. The best kit gun by far. Everyone must have one. Here is the Raven that I use. Doesn't replace anything. Ideally, I would want to replace Infected Clip with a Toxin Raven to get more damage from my Toxin, which elemental damage is the thing that scales the slash procs, and just go nuts with it. I cannot unfortunately do that, so I have to go with this build that utilizes Prime Firestorm to get a lot of range, and doesn't use Serration or Galvanized Aptitude, and it can still do a lot of damage. Sorry. And not only can it still do a lot of damage, as you see, it's extremely effective at doing pretty much anything you want, from single targets to AoE. And then if you want even more AoE, you have the residual arcanes where you can get extra cold damage to get more, you know, AoE slow and more crit damage on your assaults against the same targets. You get residual boils to get the armor down a bit more on the area you shoot. There is generally a lot of things you can do. I went with Pax Bolt and always go with Pax Bolt because I like ability strength. I'm a Wisp main, so whenever I can get any kind of ability strength, I'm gonna squeeze it as much as possible. But yeah, overall, Toonfinger, amazing gun. We're gonna rank it. Daily driver, I would 100% say yes. It has a primary fire non-charge that is insane for single target, and then it has the AoE that is just ridiculous. Level cap viability, easily the single target shooting is gonna melt level cap. Utility of it is insane, just like the Kuva Bramma, because you have infinite ammo. You can shoot it on walls, ceilings, the ground, anywhere you want. You don't care about your ammo, you will just destroy everything in the tile set. And the fact that the bullet has no drop off is the funniest part, I think, about this gun. You have this, and no matter where I throw these bullets, it will not drop anywhere. Wherever I aim, this will go, and it just has infinite range. You can shoot it from the other side of the plains of Eidolon, and the bullet will just keep traveling forward at the speed you shot it at without falling to the ground ever. It will just impact the wall you aimed at initially, which is absolutely insane in my opinion. Priming is something that the Toonfinger cannot do, and one of the few things it cannot do. The range of it is fine without Prime Firestorm. With Prime Firestorm it's insane. Early game accessibility, it's a kit gun, so very early accessible. Ammo economy is ridiculous. You cannot run out of ammo in this weapon ever. So the Toonfinger gets another must-have. Crazy weapon. Tenet Arca Plasmor. The Tenet Arca Plasmor and the Tenet Envoy and the Tenet Extra, the last 3 entries that we're gonna see that are the Tenet Weapons. Tenet Arca Plasmor is the bit better version of the Catchmoon for a lot of people, and it is better because of the larger area of effect that the projectile has, plus the fact that I'm using Vicious Roast that I showed in another video to increase the AoE of this even further and get some really nice results, especially when this is buffed. So right now this is without buff, and you see that the shots just go everywhere. Now that there is some stacks happening, you see bullets ricocheting off the same people, hitting them twice, thrice, doing whatever. And on a room, your bullets splitting into 3 or 4 and going wherever can be very useful, especially considering this gun ricochets off everything. So overall, very nice AoE. Maximizing the AoE with Vicious Roast is a strat that I showed to people, and it's really nice to do in this gun. Overall, multiplicative CO plus damage doesn't hurt you at all. You would probably go with Prime Point Blank if you don't want your Vicious Spread. Prime Dravad's also good if you want, but not perfect. Overall, this is a really nice shotgun, and I would say that you should get it as a new player because it's really fun. So I'm gonna rank it. Daily driver, no. Level cap viability, yes. Multiplicative CO, so it is. Utility is pretty good on it because of the vicious spreads. You can just go everywhere with the bullets. You don't really care. Priming, this is a weapon that cannot really prime. It doesn't have any IPS, so priming is not an option. The range of it is insane. Even if it's a shotgun, you can get a lot of areas covered with vicious spread, my bad, and get a lot out of it. Early game accessibility, this is a Tenet weapon, so as long as you have done Deadlock Protocol, you're good to go. And the ammo economy on it is really nice. You have 10 ammo in the mag and 50 ammo recharge, so Tenet Envoy or Tenet Arca Plasma, my bad, is a must have. So, up next we have the Envoy. The Envoy or Envoy or whatever you want to call it is the only AoE weapon in the game that is pure AoE, no secondary or primary fire, and it has multiplicative CO. So this is a weapon that we want to use aptitude and serration, and we could get some insane damage. So let's see that right now by taking ourselves an Epitaph and seeing what this baby can do. So priming these guys. Now obviously before it gets the first kill, you know, not gonna be able to do much, but now that it is, you know, it deals really nice damage whenever you prime it, and it has enough status chance to do at least one viral proc for itself and give itself a lot of damage. Overall, this is a build that I am using on mainly 2 Warframes. One is Wisp in order to speedrun missions with her, as I find myself speedrunning missions with Envoy better than speedrunning missions with the Kuva Ogris, because Envoy has better ammo economy. And the main setup that I use this for and that I have this build for is Garuda with her 4th ability that guarantees a bleed proc. Ideally, because my Envoy is not Toxin. If you had a Toxin Envoy, building it would be way easier and you would have bypassed the Toxin mode, so you can do crazy stuff with it. But as you're gonna see, I do not need to do that. As long as I get 1 kill, every enemy after is gonna get completely one-shotted with the galvanized steel that is multiplicative. So yeah, overall very fun. This setup makes it completely insane, and overall really useful. If you want, you could go ahead easily and even remove the galvanized aptitude if you're not going very high level. Slap Prime Firestorm here, even more AoE, even less damage fall off on the edges. Really good. So voting, daily driver, no. Level cap viability, yes, I've gone into level cap with this gun. It can kill the demolished on level cap and it can easily annihilate a group of enemies on level cap. Utility is good. It has self reload mechanic. If you halter it, it will reload for you, and that can further be boosted by the synth mode set. That can be very useful for your companion. It cannot prime, unfortunately, not good enough status chance and not a lot of IPS damage. The range of it is really nice at 8 meters, so 11.7 if I remember correctly, with the Prime Firestorm mode, a lot of AoE. Early game accessibility, Rising Tide or Deadlock Protocol, my bad, so easy to get it. And ammo economy on it is really nice. 4 ammo bag per kill, 8 in the mag, 16 total, so 3 mags, potentially 4 ammo bag per kill, so very easy to get ammo on this gun. So considering all of this, once again, Envoy must have. And if you are a new bro, if you are someone that has completely started the game right now, Envoy and Toncore are the 2 guns that I would suggest you getting if you just want an AoE weapon that does a lot of damage. Now, both very fun, unique mechanics. Envoy will be liked by more people if I had to say so myself, because of the bullet leading mechanic, where if you aim, your bullet follows you, you know, consistently. So overall, really fun. Our final weapon is the Tenet Tetra, and the Tenet Tetra is probably able to become the best AoE weapon in the game, but you need to get luck of the leprechaun to absolutely get there, and I'm gonna explain why. So the Tenet Tetra, the secondary fire unleashes the entire magazine to do the strongest AoE attack in the entire game of 40,000 damage as a crit based heavy attack. Even the Stahlta has an AoE of 20,000, and you know, this is 40,000 and it's crit based, so nothing goes close to how much damage the Tetra can deal. 8 meter radius. Only bad thing is obviously it launches the entire magazine, so we're gonna see ourselves that by going here, the damage of it is on par with the Kuva Tonkur at the start, and when you get a kill or two, then, you know, as long as a proc appears, the enemies 100% die. But limited amount of usage because, you know, 40 ammo back per ammo pickup and 80 ammo in the mag, so every bullet you have to kill at least 4 enemies to sustain your ammunition, and except you're playing survival mission, that is never gonna happen. One thing that can help this weapon and make it super insane is a Riven mode. So this Riven mode I've tried to roll to get the ideal setup a lot. I haven't got any luck yet, but I'm gonna continue obviously. And the thing that you really want on the Tetra is negative magazine capacity, because the unique trait, the damage of the secondary fire, scales with the percentage of the mag that you throw. So if I have 80 ammo and I throw 40, then I get half the damage for this. But if I have 40 ammo and I throw 40, I have 100% of the damage. Which means that a Riven mode with 4 Riven disposition could in theory get around 50% negative magazine capacity with 3 plus and 1 minus. Which would make this completely insane, and you wouldn't have ammo issues anymore, because as long as you killed 2 or 3 enemies per thrown secondary fire, you wouldn't have any issues. So, you know, overall, amazing, I would say. Very epic. And the Tetra itself, the primary fire does a lot of damage. It's one of the strongest single target full auto weapons in the game, and it can have a lot of synergies with Zada's Whisper and the likes of that. So, our final weapon, Daily Driver, yes, 100%. Level cap viability, easily you can level cap this as long as you have 30% roar, nothing else is needed. Utility, decent, especially with the kinetic ricochet mode, so really decent utility on this. Priming, not really, unfortunately, cannot do that. The range of it is 8 meters, it's really nice. Early game accessibility, it is Tenet Weapons, so Deadlock Protocol. And ammo economy, horrible unless you have a Riven mode with a negative magazine capacity, and then it becomes godly. Must have Riven mode with minus magazine capacity. You're gonna see 1000 plat at least on Warframe market, so you better get to rolling if you wanna get the most out of this gun. So, this is our list. We're gonna repeat one last time. Acceltra is preference, Aeolak is for sure, Ambassador is preference, Battacor is must have, Bubonico must have, Burston is must have, Catchmoon is preference, Cedo is must have, Corinth Prime is for sure, Dread and Paris are bad, Ignis Wraith is must have, Komorex is preference, Latron Prime is must have, Mutalist Cernos is must have, Mutalist Quanta is something that I will take a look at in a later video down the line. Nataruk is for sure, Opticor Vandal is bad, Prisma Lenz is preference, Proboscis Cernos is preference, Quellor is preference, Cedo is for sure, Sporelacer is bad, Stahlta is a must-have, Strun Prime is a must-have, Torid is a must-have, Tombfinger is a must-have, Tramna is a for sure, Kuva Bramma, is bad, Kuva Ogris is a must-have, Kuva Tonkur is a must-have, and all the Tenet weapons are also must-haves. So, this is every single AoE primary in the game except the Sporothrix. The Sporothrix I don't really talk about because it's very similar to the Komorex, so just like the Komorex, it is preference and it has pretty much the same exact utilities, a bit more AoE as I've seen, and a bit more heavy on the slash procs especially. So, you know, anything that I talked about on the Comorex, I would also say about the Sporelacer. Same thing if we were talking about Nataruk versus Cinta. They are essentially the same gun with different looks and a bit different stats. So this is about it. If you're a new player, my suggestions would be Envoy, Tonkor, Stahlta, and Tombfinger Kitgun. These are the 4 best in my opinion. If you're a new player, the one that requires the less setup to work, and the ones that you're gonna find the most useful as well. If you're an old player, you're gonna look to yourself to get the most out of your AoE weapons. You're gonna have to use the Kuva Ogris, Kuva Tonkor, and Tenet Tetra if you wanna go that way, and obviously the Ignis Wraith if you want to just room clear. Links for Twitch and Discord will be below. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you on the next video.